seeing. It's just an unbelievable story. Now, Teddy, I know you've never stolen one, at least as far as I know. Have you ever lost one, though?
I have lost one. I lost one of my rings for a long period of time. It was late summer, coming back home from an appearance with my wife, Heidi, and I gave her my ring to hold, and we get home and we put everything away, and I don't wear the ring a lot. So a couple months later, when I need the ring, we can't find it. It's the third Super Bowl ring, so it's the big one, and I'm like, I like to wear this one. So it's like, where is the ring? We can't find. So I literally thought that I lost that ring. So months go by, and it's like 6 or 7 months the next time summer comes around. Now, Sam, do you ever change purses with wardrobes or seasons?
Yes, of course.
Absolutely,
I'm
right?
sure Heidi does too.
You got a summer purse, you got a winter purse, big
Something
thing.
like that.
Sure. So the next summer came around again, almost another calendar year. Heidi comes out, I'm in the driveway. She's like, look what I found. It was in her purse.
See, she was just holding it for you. That's all.
Gosh.
It was just for safety.
But we found it again. Thank goodness.
And you guys don't wear them, I've noticed. How do you decide if you're going to wear them?
They've gotten so big. Like my dad has a Super Bowl ring from Super Bowl 18 that was won here in Tampa. It's wearable. The rings that you have, your third Super Bowl ring, is how big?
They get bigger. Yeah. The first one usually is my favorite to wear. So yeah.
All right, well, let's get to there's actually a connection between that story, because if you'll remember, obviously you guys remember the game, the defensive coordinator, Steve Spagnuolo, in that game, now the defensive coordinator for the Chiefs. From his experience playing against Tom Brady, how do you think that makes an impact today, Teddy?
Well, I think Spagnuolo knows this. One thing, don't let him read your mail. And defensively, what that means is don't let them know what you're in pre-snap. And that's what you're going to see, and that's what Spags knows. I mean, this is all the way from that Super Bowl year when they stole all those rings. The thieves did that. He disguised. Okay, now here's an example of linebackers in the A-gaps, linebackers dropping out in a corner coming off the left defensive slot over there. But watch the linebacker as the center slides to the right. Kavika Mitchell pretends he's dropping out, then comes back. This type of disguise, this type of confusing the protection is what you want against Tom Brady. Now, I'm going to show you 3 consecutive downs, okay, from the first matchup. The disguise. Look at Sorensen, Thornhill, and Matthew. Look at that rotation. This is high-level stuff in terms of safety rotation, pre-snap looks. They're down in the line of scrimmage here. They're dropping out to give help over the top. Sorensen ends up playing man-to-man here on the tight end. On the second down, he makes a nice little tackle right here. So now we got third down. So let's show him another different disguise. This is how complex it gets. Once again, watch these safeties. Now Sorensen is going to blitz, and you're going to have droppers that are supposed to be rushers, similar to what they did in 07 to get in the throwing lanes. Throws off Tom just a little bit, not as accurate. You get hands in the throwing lane, and boom, you're off the field. That's what he means by not letting them read his mail, because when you do that, towards the end of the game, Tom Brady, the one quarterback that knows he wants the answers before he lets go of the ball, he'll hold it a little bit more, and that's when the pass rush comes, and that's when you finish him off, and that's when you got him.
Just to add on to that, I think one of the excellent things that Kansas City's defense does, yes, Spags has this creative, aggressive defense, but he gives the freedom to these safeties in particular. Tyrann Mathieu, Juan Thornhill, he gives the freedom to them to go make a play. So it could be, like, to the quarterback, you're looking at it like, oh, this is supposed to be cover 3. But listen, if those safeties want to go make a play, a la Ed Reed, a la Troy Polamalu, go make a play. Fire your gun, go make a play. And that's what I think is most dangerous. And for a veteran quarterback going up against go make a play, be offensive on defense, we don't like that usually.
You know, the number one thing that I've been talking about since week 1 of Tampa Bay is how are they going to protect Tom Brady. I said this coming after the bye. I seen something different in the Tampa Bay Bucs. You know, the offensive line coach Moore, one of the best that there ever was. I think him and Dante Scarnecchia ranks up there. But when I look at Coach Spagnuolo being able to try to fluster Tom Brady in this offense, Brew, you put up a great tape, because I remember in 07 seeing that A pressure of Mitchell dropping out and then coming back in. This is where Tom Brady becomes a student of the game, Matt. Yes, it's been, almost 20-something years since then, but Tom Brady has not forgotten that. This year, this game, they're able to play, be able to understand what are they trying to do with the safeties. The second play you put up, great disguise, but they played two-man behind it. So I really think that Tom Brady, as great as he is, Coach Spagnuolo will have something for him tonight, but, the student of the game that I keep talking about, he'll be ready for that matchup.
Yeah, you know, it's funny, but this is like Spags has got the greatest job in America. He's a defensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs. All he has to do is get 3 stops in the game, a turnover, whatever, and you're going to be a world champion again. Let's face it. But I love his creativity. And when you go back to the first time these teams met, Brady had a phenomenal tape that showed what the problem was. But that was when Brady was running somebody else's offense. And so now, look, I mean, I've got to get this guy a million times. He was in complete control. Yeah, including embarrassing me with a Rex Ryan audible.
I hope it's a touchdown when he yelled Joe name.
That's a 2-yard game. Don't surprise.
That looks like a Rex Ryan play.
But this is it. But look at earlier in the year. This week 1. He's looking down at the wristband. He's going to break the huddle.
Never a good sign.
And let me see. Oh, I'm looking down again at the wristband. He had no idea. But ever since that Week 12 matchup, and I mean the last time these teams met,
traded in the coming days. And the truth of the matter is this really heated up right after the Detroit Lions traded Matthew Stafford to the Los Angeles Rams. The Bears had been calling on Stafford. The Lions preferred not to deal him in division unless they got a huge package of compensation. The Bears then began calling the Lions. The Colts have been in contact with the Eagles. A lot of talk around Carson Wentz, and it's now at the point where the feeling is he will be traded. It certainly sounds like he doesn't want to be there in Philadelphia anymore. The Eagles are trying to get back the maximum amount they can get back before they hand off their starting job to Jalen Hurts, but the wheels are in motion, the carousel is spinning, and Carson Wentz looks like he is ready to be the next quarterback, Mort, that is traded.
Yeah, and there seems to be a little bit of a surprise, some shock that Carson Wentz is going to be traded. Even after Doug Peterson, their Super Bowl winning coach, was fired on January 11th. Everybody thought, well, that settled it because everybody knew there was a fractured relationship there, a lack of trust. Well, as Jeffrey Lurie, the owner of the Eagles, told people, I think we referred to it earlier in the season, the firing of Doug Peterson was not related to Carson Wentz. It went beyond that. They've hired Nick Sirianni to replace him. And Sirianni and his staff had a meeting this past week, and I had a source tell me that they actually expressed some hope that Wentz would remain there. But Wentz is ready to move on. The Eagles are willing to move on, even if it's reluctantly by some of them. They felt that Wentz's fundamentals broke down behind a decimated offensive line. They saw 2019 when he threw 27 touchdown passes and 7 interceptions. But he got hit in the helmet, you remember, in that playoff game against the Seahawks. That was by Jadeveon Clowney. And that's what really provoked the Eagles to take Jalen Hurts in the second round of the draft, which I think, because of lack of communication, created a mistrust between Wentz and others besides Doug Peterson in that organization. And Sam, I think that's why this is going down, we think, sometime in the next week or so.
Yeah, that's interesting stuff, Mort. You also have to wonder how much they were watching that Matthew Stafford thing, saw how much the Lions got, and thought maybe this might be another option. Look, this has been a roller coaster for Carson Wentz, not just this season. He's dealt with injury. We're talking about this guy as an MVP potentially a couple years ago. Rex, do you think this is the right decision for the Eagles?
No, I don't, Sam. I mean, you just talked about it there. 3 years ago, this guy would have won the MVP had he stayed healthy. And you bring in an offensive guru and a quarterback, guy that did a great job with Justin Herbert with the Chargers. So it's like, man, I was excited to see it. Mort talked about it. I thought his fundamentals were the thing that I was concerned with. Like, you can get that with coaching, you can get that fixed. This guy, a young franchise-type quarterback, you just don't find. I spent 30 years coaching. I never had a franchise-type quarterback, and you're just going to let him walk out the door? And I get it. Yes, he struggled mightily last year, but I thought it was more fundamentals and a poor offensive line, as Moore talked about, than it was anything else. And now
isn't this coaching selection in Sirianni supposed to be for Carson?
That's the head scratcher about it.
Like, we're bringing it. Go ahead.
You go and hire Nick Sirianni. It's basically like you're hiring Frank Reich Jr. Right. Carson Wentz's favorite coach of all time is probably Frank Reich. So you go hire Sirianni. It's basically the closest thing you can get to what he wants. So you're thinking you're repairing the relationship. Otherwise, why wouldn't you keep your